Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. And today I want to give you a couple of signs that someone is playing game on you out there when you're out and dating and meeting different people. Okay? So, the first sign that I want to give you guys is this. And we're talking about online dating, and you're meeting people online or you're meeting people, through social media. It doesn't necessarily just have to be online dating, but here's a few signs generally that people use when they're about to play game on you. So look out for these things, all right? One of the first signs is when you first start talking to somebody, they're going to say something to you after, you're texting a little bit or whatever, or they're talking to you a day or two, and they start by saying to you, well, when I'm dating, I only focus in on one person, okay? It's too much. You can't give your time to everybody. I'm just focusing in on you and everything like that because that's how I operate. You guys, that is classic game. Classic game. So when somebody tells you something like that, like they're just focusing on you and they're giving you the impression that they're not talking to other people, don't believe it, okay? Because very rarely is somebody doing that, especially with all the options out there and the freedoms that they have, because if they can, they will most of the time. So you have to be aware of that and don't believe everything that comes out of these people's mouths. I've said that time and time again. People are going to say whatever, all right? But that's a classic sign that somebody is playing game on you. Okay, now I'm going to move to the next one, all right? Another sign that somebody may be playing game on you is that they start to tell you things like they've been celibate for like 3 months, 6 months, a year, okay? When we're talking about people that are out there, that are dating a lot and everything, I'm not saying there isn't a possibility of that being, but for the most part, that is game, okay? That is game. And especially if you're dealing with somebody that, they're very social, they're always out, they're dating a lot, they look like a player, or anything like that, when they sit there and they give you the BS and they tell you stuff like, oh, I've been celibate, the last year or something like that. Yeah, no, really, I haven't been with anybody. That is classic game, you guys. Classic game. Don't believe it because most of the time it's not true. All right? Next. Next. Another thing that you might want to look at that a lot of game players do, all right, is that they're going to tell you what they're going to do is they're going to try to build your trust. This is what these people do. They want to build your trust in the beginning. They're always rushing to build your trust. They want you to get your guard down. So they're going to love bomb you. And a lot of narcissists do this. A lot of players do this. They're going to love bomb the shit out of you, all right? Till you're on cloud fucking 9 and you think like, oh my God, I finally met the one, okay? But don't be fooled, all right? Because if anybody tells you they love you within the first 2, even 3 months, okay, that is a red flag. You better watch out for that because you may be dealing with somebody that's giving you love bombing. Because love is something that's created, okay? It's not something that happens overnight. So they can't love you if they don't fucking know who you are. And you don't know somebody in a month or two. All right? So anybody that pulls that crap of saying, I think I've fallen in love, or you're everything that I hoped for, or anything like that, you guys, that is like the biggest red flag going. Biggest red flag going. The same goes for if they start talking about marriage to you in the first 3 months, all right? Watch out, watch out, watch out, okay? More love bombing. Anybody talks to you about trying to move in with you in the first 3 months, That's more love bombing. Watch out, watch out, watch out. This is what these people do. They move fast, okay? And this is what a lot of toxic people do. They move fast. You know why they fucking move fast? Because they don't want you to see them for who they truly are. A manipulator and a liar, okay? And a lot of them are narcissistic, and this is how they move fast, all right? And if you're somebody who has a lot of heart, who thinks like, all people are wonderful and, we're all the same, then you are going to be a victim of the game if you hit one of these people. And they will target people who are empaths, people that have heart, people that wear their heart on a sleeve. This is who they target, these type of people. But it's up to you. It's up to you to use your discernment and be able to recognize these people, or you will become a victim of the game. What is a victim of a game? That's somebody who's going to get used, all right? So this is why I tell you, your greatest defense, and is very important, is time, all right? Because in order to see what somebody's about, it's a process, okay? It's not an overnight thing. You have to watch these people. You have to watch their patterns. You have to listen to what comes out of their mouths, all right? And people will always show you who they are if you listen to what they say, okay? Because even the best actor in the world is going to fuck up, you guys, all right? Because they can't keep it up over a period of time, because their true character comes out over time. This is what I'm trying to tell you. That's why you have to move slow with these people. And you're going to see all these little signs of people trying to play game on you if you're dealing with somebody like that. Now, another thing when it comes to, game is, you have to watch people too when you meet them. If they're not willing to get on the phone and talk to you and have a few conversations before meeting you, then guess what? They're not in it to get to know you, okay? Like we had a girl in the group. She went out with this guy. He didn't ask her one question about herself. Not one. Not one. Did she have conversations with him before she went and met him? No, okay? And then she was sitting there. He made her pay for her portion of the date on top of everything after he was the one who asked her out. And he was asking her, would you want to go out on another date? Not because he was so interested in her, but because he wanted to know if she was sweating him for his ego, you guys. Because he didn't show any signs of interest in her. He basically, when they rush you to go meet you, like they'll do a little chat thing with you, like the first day or whatever. And then the next thing you know, can we meet? Can we meet? Can we meet? Can we meet? You know why? Because they're not really concerned on who you are inside and who you are as a person. They're concerned on what you look like. They want to know what you fucking look like. That's what they're concerned on. So don't let people rush you into go meeting them. And also, you don't want to just waste your time getting ready for a date to go meet somebody who you know nothing about, who could have a criminal record, who could be narcissistic, who could be married. That's why I tell you guys all the time, you got to check these people out before you go meet them. Or you could put yourself in a dangerous situation as well. We hear about this all the time, about people going and meeting people off dating sites or even online. They don't know who these people are. They may have, somebody waiting there for you when you show up in another car. This happened to a friend of mine who happens to be a cop. He went to go meet this girl, right, in New York City. And he gets in the car with her and she tells him, could she get some money for her babysitter? So, he's like, I don't have any money on me. And she's like, well, we could go to a Cash App machine and everything like that. She's in his car. They're in front of her building. And he's like, no, my car doesn't have anything on it. And then she's like, well, I can't do this then. She gets out of the car. He looks in his rear view mirror, and guess what? There was a car right behind him. You know why there's a car behind him, you guys? Because she was going to lead him to an ATM machine. And there was another car with a guy behind them that was going to probably rob him at gunpoint at the ATM machine. So this is what I'm saying. You need to check these people out before you go and you meet them, all right? You don't know who these people are. And definitely do not go to anybody's place or have them at yours, all right? I've already been through that in prior podcasts and talked about how dangerous that is, all right? So in any event, the point I'm trying to make in all of this is, haste makes waste, all right? So you've got to be patient when it comes to meeting somebody. You've got to pick this person apart. I know it takes work, all right? In the beginning, when you're chatting with somebody online or whatever you're doing, because that's what a lot of people are doing today, you want to see if that person's consistent with the texts. Are they texting you right back? Are they getting back to you like 2 days later, 4 hours later when you're in the middle of a conversation? If they're doing that, then guess what? They're not all into you. Because when somebody is into you or interested in trying to find out more about you, they're going to be consistent with the texts as well. They're going to come right back at you. All right. And if they're a respectful person and let's say they're busy with their kid or they're busy at work, guess what? They're going to tell you, listen, I'm going into a meeting, but I'll text you back in 2 hours when I come out of my meeting. That's somebody who's respectful of you. All right. So in the beginning, you want to watch the consistency, and that will give you an idea of whether you should give this person your time and whether you need, whether this person, once you start texting a little bit, then you move to the phone and you get on that phone, all right? Always get on the phone. If they're not getting on the phone, they've got somebody. Believe me when I tell you, they got an old lady or they got an old man at home, all right? People that don't get on the phone are, they've got somebody, okay? And they can't talk because that person's around. So you need to know all these signs when it comes to game. Now, another sign of game, you guys. You meet somebody and they tell you that they're separated, okay? First of all, you don't deal with that. You don't deal with mess. Separated is not divorced, all right? A lot of these people, these players that are married, they're going to tell you that they're separated, but they're living in the same house as their ex-wife or ex-husband. Well, it's not even their ex, okay? Because they're still married, all right? And in some cases, they're still happy in their marriage, but they're telling you that they're separated. Why are they telling you that they're separate? Like some people say, well, why do they even tell me that they're separated if they're not? Because they need a reason why they can't bring you to their house, okay? Or there may be other situations where they can't talk or whatever. So they feel like if you're going to deal with that, they can work with you and everything like that in trying to, see you even though they're married, okay? So do not mess with anybody that tells you they're separated and especially if they're living in the same home with the person that they said they are married to, okay? Because most of the time they are not separated and they're not getting a divorce, okay? You don't go out with anybody unless you see a divorce paper, all right? You see a divorce paper and you know that person is divorced for a couple of months at least, depending on how long they were together in a marriage. So don't buy into that, oh yeah, well, we're separated. No, you're still married. You're still married and you don't mess with that. You don't mess with that because if you mess with that, trust and believe you're going to deal with, mess down the road, okay? Now, another thing I want to bring up to you guys is this. Another thing that a lot of these game players do is they're going to tell you, I'm not like these other guys. This is a famous one. They love to use this one. They all go to the same school of bullshit, all right? They all love to tell you, I'm not like these other guys, all right? Well, anybody who tells you that, you can trust and believe they are like those other guys, because that's a classic game line, all right? So don't believe that. You move slowly and you let them know, well, we'll see as time goes by. And, don't ever take anybody for their word in the beginning, all right? Again, they're going to try to win you over so that you trust them. They're going to try to fool you and make you think that, you know what? They're not a guy that goes out all the time. They may be on the phone with you in the beginning. They're not going out on Friday or Saturday night because they're on the phone with you. And you're thinking to yourself, I got a real one here. I got a real one. Well, you gotta wait it out, because you know what? A lot of these game players, they know how to play the game. What they're going to do is they're going to stay on the phone with you till you fall asleep, all right? Which could be, who knows, 12, 1 o'clock, whatever. And some of these players, what they'll do is they're going out to meet their situationship, all right? That's who they're going out to meet. They're going out to meet their friends with benefits at 3, 4, 5 in the morning when you're asleep, all right? So you can't be fooled by that, you guys. Like I told you, the only way you're going to know whether somebody's being real with you is to watch their pattern over a period of months. Not the first week, not the second week, not the first month, not the second month, not the third month. Usually for the average game player, usually by the second, between I would even say 6 to 12 weeks or later, they're going to show their true colors. If you're really sharp and you pick up on it, okay? So this is why I'm telling you, you need to be careful or you're going to get played. You're going to get played. So this is what they do, you guys, because they know that, they're not stupid. These people are not stupid, all right? They know that you're watching them. They know that you're looking for consistency. And people that, have been in the game, they're going to give you that consistency. They are going to be available for you. They aren't going to ghost in the beginning and everything like that. Why? Because they're showing their best face with the mask on in the first 3 months. But I guarantee you, if you watch them good, by month 4 at the latest, that mask is going to come off and you're going to see that person for who they are. And you're going to start seeing those red flags, all right? So what do I say all the time? You don't rush. You don't rush. Now, another thing that they do to try to build trust, and I've talked about this in one of my prior podcasts, is sometimes what they'll do is they'll say they're going somewhere, like they have an event, they have a birthday party or whatever they're doing, and they're going to take a video at the birthday party and show you to make you feel more at ease, to bring your guard down. This is what they do. They're trying to bring your guard down so that you trust them, okay? And they could be showing you this video, and this video could have been taken 3 months ago. This video could have been taken 3 years ago, okay? They could show you this video and then be going somewhere afterwards and tell you they're going to bed. So you're not going to be fooled by any videos or anything like that. You're going to watch this person over a period of time. Now, another thing when it comes to, this is the biggest one, all right? This is the biggest one, you guys. You're going to look at their track record, okay? Their track record tells you fucking everything about who they are, all right? What were their past relationships with? What were their past relationships like? Were they toxic? Were they violent? Were they abusive? Are they blaming their ex for everything and saying, oh, she was crazy, he was crazy? Were they always somebody who always had to be out and everything like that? And now they're on the phone with you every night and everything? Well, just because they're on the phone with you every night, all right, their past pattern shows that when they were with their exes, one of the reasons they broke up with their ex is because they were out every night, okay? They just weren't there. They were busy doing other things and they weren't there for the relationship. So what makes you think that you're going to be different? That was their pattern over time, okay? And, you have to understand something. People are creatures of habit. So most times it's going to be a repeat of what their habit has been in the past, and especially if they're older, okay? Especially if they're older. They're pretty much set in their ways, you guys. Very rarely are you going to see somebody completely change into something else, all right? Because that is their basic character. What you're looking for is somebody's character. What is this person's character, all right? This is where so many people are misguided today. So many people are like, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're looking for. They're just going out there just talking. Oh, yeah, no, they sound nice. Oh, yeah, they're funny. Oh, yeah, they have a nice personality. Oh, yeah, they have a nice job. When you don't know the first fucking thing about this person, okay? This is why I'm telling you, look at their behaviors. Look at their behaviors with children. Look at their behaviors with their own family. Don't even get me started when it comes to the family, okay? Because I got to do a podcast on this. When you look into somebody's family, when they come from a broken type of family structure, in other words, they came from a toxic household. Maybe they had a narcissistic mother. Maybe they had an abusive father. Maybe there was just a lot of upheaval in their life. You're dealing with somebody who could be broken, all right? Who doesn't recognize that they were never taught what love is. If they don't know what a healthy relationship is, how the fuck do you think they're going to be in a relationship with you? They're not. They're not, you guys. A lot of times, this is the kind of homes that narcissists come from, all right? And they feel that way because they never had control growing up. And they feel that later on, they have that need for control. And guess where that's going to come? That's going to come in your relationship with you, all right? They're going to feel like they need the control. And the way they're going to try to control you is by putting you down, by criticizing you, by making themselves superior to you, all right? So this is why I tell you, you've got to be sharp. You've got to spot the signs, because if you don't, you're going to fall into this pattern, okay? They're going to win you over. Once they feel they've won you over, okay, then they're going to start to criticize you and to kind of break you down. And then when they feel they've gotten everything out of you, they're going to discard you for somebody else. And a lot of them will do it cold and you won't even see it coming, or that you're going to deal with somebody who's indifferent to you, that doesn't really care that whether they're in the relationship or not, or they're hanging around just to hang around. Okay. But meanwhile, they got one foot out the door and they're talking to somebody else. Okay. So this is why I tell you, know who you're dealing with, know what kind of cat you're dealing with. You've got to really look at their past, where they came from, their family, what their relationship was in their family, what was their relationship to their mother. Stuff like this is all what molds a person, all right? And it's going to tell you, am I dealing with a healthy person here, or am I dealing with somebody who's got hang-ups? Am I dealing with somebody who's like still broken inside? All right. So, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I just needed to point that stuff out. But this podcast, I'm talking about signs of game, okay? The different signs that you're going to come across of people that are trying to play game on you. Now, another sign I want to bring up is this. If you're on a dating app, okay, the reason I say that is because dating apps are 95% game, which means that people are not there to date and have a relationship. They're there for other reasons, which is mainly for sex or to scam you of money or to scam you for something else or because they need a place to live or whatever it could be, some way to use you, okay? So what a lot of them do, and a lot of the guys do this, you guys, they have that they're looking for in a relationship on their profile. Now, I'm not saying that there couldn't be a few of them that are, okay? There's always the exception to the rule. But most of those guys that have on there looking for a relationship are full of shit, all right? So if you look at this guy and you see, and he looks like, a stud, and he looks like a player, and he's got a picture of himself with no shirt on, and he's all flexed up with like the six pack and everything like that. And he knows he's good looking. He knows he can get a lot of women. Okay. And you see, like it says looking for a relationship. I'm sorry. I meant looking for a relationship. This guy is full of shit. So right now, to say to yourself, this guy's going to look to play me. This guy's going to look to play me, okay? Now, he could be the exception of the rule. He is looking for a relationship. But if he is that good looking and everything like that, he doesn't need to go on a dating app and put looking for a relationship. So that tells you right there, you're dealing with somebody who's looking to play game, all right? So what they put on their profile doesn't mean anything because they lie about what they're looking for, all right? Now, another thing I want to bring up too is, a lot of these guys, they get mad because a lot of women on these dating apps are asking them, so what are you looking for? So what are you looking for? So what are you looking for? Anybody who gets upset by the fact of you asking them what they're looking for is somebody who's not looking for anything, all right? Anybody who gets upset that you're asking them or they give you a lame I'm looking for that first date that becomes my last date. That's a classic bullshit game line that they use. Okay? Don't believe that. All right? That's all game, all right? And then there was another thing I got to remember that I wanted to tell you guys with regard to game that they always do. So another thing that they always do is they tell you something like when you ask them, oh, so what are you looking for? Okay. And they come back to you and they say something to the effect of, well, I'm looking for a good woman. Okay. If they tell you anything like that, they are not worth your fucking time. Okay. Because that's not answering the question. That's a line that they learn in the same school of bullshit that they go to. All right. Because they're either going to say, they're looking for a relationship. They're looking for a hookup. They're looking for a friend with benefits. Friend basically means a friend with benefits because they're not there to be your best friend. All right. So let's call it what it is. A friends with benefits is, a glorified way of saying, they want to hook up with you, have sex with you, but then they don't want nothing else from you because that's all you're worth. All right. So if anybody says, well, I'm looking to make friends, that means I'm looking for sex from you. That's it, okay? They don't want to be your best friend, and don't believe that bullshit, all right? So if you do, you're a sucker, all right? I mean, there are cases where people have become friends, but then what happens is when that person doesn't call you or something like that, people get upset and say, well, I thought we were friends, No. You're friends with benefits, which basically means you're just a hookup. You're just somebody that they come, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and they're out, okay? They're just being nice to you and pretending to be your friend, but they're not really your fucking friend, okay? So stop believing that nonsense. Stop selling yourself short and value yourself and value your body. You're worth more than that. You're worth more than that, okay? And if you keep doing that, after a while, what's going to happen is you're going to start to develop feelings for that person. This is what happens with this friends with benefits bullshit, all right? Somebody starts to develop feelings, all right? Because, something turns on your brain and it's not just a physical thing. All right. You get to know the person. The more you become familiar with the person, you start to get a little attached to the person, especially if you're a female, because that's the way females generally are wired. Okay. Generally, not everybody. There are exceptions to the rule. Okay. So this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. You have to learn to read between the lines when it comes to these people and the things that they say to you, because they're going to try to be vague. They're not going to be clear, okay? And then you have those people that are just straight up liars that will tell you everything you want to hear, and they will try to move fast. They'll say, oh yeah, no, I'm looking for a relationship. When can we meet? When can we meet? All right. You know how you sidetrack somebody like that? You tell them that you want to talk to them on the phone a couple of times. All right. And if they're not willing to do it, if they're not willing to have like at least 6 conversations for at least a half hour to an hour each time, then you know that they don't want to get to know you. They're just looking at you as, a piece of meat that they want to just, meet for a drink and then jump in the bed with you. Okay. So that's how you're able to weed through all of that and all that game stuff that, I'm trying to tell you. Now, another classic when we talk about, whether this person is there to meet you because they're interested in you for something more than a hookup, is the conversation you have with these people. I've talked about this time and time again in prior podcasts, all right? What kind of conversation are they making with you? Are they asking you blunt, general, boring questions like, how's your day going? You having a nice day? Are you enjoying this good weather? Okay? That is not getting to know somebody, okay? It's all right to make a general one-liner as your intro, how are you doing today or something like that. But then there should be conversation as to, are you divorced? Are you single? How long are you single? Do you have kids? What kind of work you do? Those are the 2 big ones that they know they got to ask if you even get that far. Do you have kids, or what kind of work do you do? Those are the 2 big ones. Then you have to see, are they asking anything else about you? Are they trying to find out who you are? Okay. If they're not, and they're just talking about, sports teams, or they're just talking about general things in the news, and they're not making conversation to really know, what you're about, then guess what? They don't care. Okay. They don't care, because they're not there to find out who you are, because they don't plan on being with you a long time. They're just trying to be nice so that they can make a date for you to go meet them. They want to see what you look like. And then, if you look good, they're going to try to maneuver you into the bed. All right. That's how it goes. So, people that are not there with intentions of trying to get to know you are people that are not going to want to put the work in, all right? They're not going to want to have these long conversations. Occasionally you will get the ones that do it and are just looking for sex. They'll be on the phone with you the first, second day for hours and everything like that. And then they're going to try to push to meet you. All right. That's why I tell you, do not meet them right away. If they really like you, they will continue to have conversations with you for at least a week. at least a week with constant conversation and getting on the phone at least 15 minutes to a half hour a day and making conversations. If they don't consistently do that, then they're not interested in trying to get to know you, okay? Or they're jumping around all over the place, all right? They're jumping around all over the place. And don't waste your time, because they're not going to be able to focus in on you because they're all over the place. Now, I want to give you another tidbit about people that try to play game on you. This is what they do. They will say to you, well, I give everybody trust in the beginning, and then if they do something to lose my trust, then that's different, but I trust you from the beginning. Anybody who tells you something like that is somebody that you got to watch out for, okay? This is somebody who's going to try to fool you, all right? Because trust is earned. It's not given right away. So when they start talking to you like that, and they start saying to you things like, well, everybody, in the beginning, everybody's a clean slate, and, you've got my trust, I've got your trust, and everything like that, all right? That's their way to break down your wall so that you trust them right away, okay? Anybody that tries to convince you or try to fool you into trying to trust them right away is somebody that you got to watch out for, is somebody who's trying to fool you, all right? So if they don't understand that you take your time and that trust is given over a period of time, then they have bad intentions. And that is somebody that you better put your antenna up on and watch that person, because 9 times out of 10, that person is trying to manipulate you for some kind of benefit out of you. Could be sex, could be money, could be moving into your place. It could be some kind of, benefit that they're getting out of you. And that's why they're trying so hard to get that trust right away. Okay? So watch out for that, you guys. Now, here's another thing that I want to remind you. When you see any signs of game, like in other words, if somebody is putting that they're looking for a relationship and you feel in your gut that it doesn't seem like they look like that kind of person, or that they are looking for a relationship, and they're giving you those red flags, or you see any type of game, you need to delete and get rid of that person, because that's just the tip of the iceberg of the games and manipulation that they're going to use on you, okay? So right then and there, you see any kind of game, you've got to get rid of that person, because already you know that you're dealing with somebody who's a liar, and you will never be able to trust this person, okay? So keep that in mind, because those little things, this is what I'm talking about, those red flags, those little things are showing you who that person is, that this person is not sincere. And when you see that somebody is not being sincere with you, okay, even in the littlest way, that is just, like I said, that's just the tip of the iceberg of the insincerity that you're going to get later on if you keep these people around. That's why I tell you, you got to get rid of them. You've got to get rid of them, or you're going to get yourself more and more attached to them. You're going to, ignore the red flags, and your heart's going to get in it. You're going to they're going to break down your wall. They're going to manipulate you to get whatever benefit out of you, and then they're going to discard you, okay? And this is why we have these people going through these bad breakups that cause people to go into depression and everything else. So this is what I'm trying to protect you, all right? So trust your gut, because the gut doesn't lie the way people do, all right? If something seems off, there's a reason, all right? Don't let anybody double talk you and tell you, it's not. Don't let anybody gaslight you, all right? If anybody causes confusion in your brain where you start to second guess your judgment, then you know you are dealing with a toxic person. In a lot of cases, you're dealing with a narcissistic person because this is what they want to do. They want to create confusion in their brain. You know why? Because they are full of lies. Okay? And they want you to believe their lies. So they'll do anything they can do to create that confusion in your brain, even though it doesn't feel right. The actions are not matching up to what's coming out of their mouth, okay? But they're trying to, they're trying to confuse you by gaslighting you and making up stories to the point where you start to second guess your own judgment. When you start to feel like that, or you feel like you got to research something or Google something because you're unsure of it or anything like that, that is a huge red flag. That is a huge red flag, okay? Because people that are truthful are transparent. People that are transparent, you don't have to check things out, okay? You don't have to double check them out, okay? You don't have to track these people. You don't have to, Google things that they say, all right? So when you find yourself doing these things, you've got to say to yourself, I'm dealing with a toxic person. I'm dealing with somebody who's not transparent, okay? This person, I have to delete this person out, because if I continue on with this person, it's a road for disaster, okay? Believe me when I tell you, because I'm talking from experience, all right? Now, another way somebody tries to play game on you, this is the breadcrumb, you guys, is what they do is they love to hit you up in the morning. They love to hit you up in the morning. You know why? Because in the morning, they usually have nothing going on. Maybe they just got to their job, they're bored, and this is when they touch base with you. They'll hit you up, they'll say, good morning, beautiful, or just good morning. And then when you talk to them and you tell them, you're busy or whatever, can you call me later? They don't call you. And then what they do is they breadcrumb you and hit you up the next day. When somebody doesn't follow through, when you ask them to call you or something later, let's say you're busy and you had just met this person, you're trying to get to know them, and they keep repeating the same pattern where they say they're going to call you, or especially if it's at night or something like that, and they're not doing it, and they hit you up the next morning, this person is playing game on you. That's the breadcrumb, okay? They're following through, but they're not hitting you up to talk to you on the phone or anything. It's the touch base. When you start to see that, don't even waste your time with somebody like that, because they either have somebody, that's why they're not hitting you up at night, or they're breadcrumbing you because they're juggling so many people and they're just doing the touch base thing with the generic text, good morning, hope you have a nice day, and then maybe hit you late at night and say good night. Don't even waste your time with that. Another thing I want to bring up about game, okay, that some people do. You're going to meet people, and these are the people that think they're really slick. They think they're the seasoned game players. Some of them are going to try to fool you, especially if they know that you're a religious or spiritual type of person. What these people do is they're going to try to mirror you, okay? They're going to try to mold themselves into something that, you could relate to, or try to make themselves out to be like you. A lot of narcs do this, you guys. So if they know that you're a very religious person or spiritual person, they're going to portray that they are the man of God, okay? They are going to be like, I'm very spiritual. I believe in God, and I would never hurt you because I wouldn't want that done to me, okay? I know how that could hurt, and I wouldn't want that done to me. Watch out, because when somebody says something like that, they're playing game on you most of the time, all right? That's another big player line. When they sit there and they say, well, I wouldn't do that to you because I wouldn't want somebody to do it to me. I'm not like that. And, I'm a man of God and all that. watch out, okay? Watch out, watch out, watch out. And you also have to watch out, you guys, in, when you go to religious places, a church, a synagogue, a mosque, because you have a lot of people that are predators in these places. You have people in these places that prey on spiritual women, okay, that are trying to, they're going there because they feel like, they're going to try to portray that they're this man of God and they're a good man and everything like that. You have players and stuff like that, you guys, that go to religious institutions and religious establishments that are trying to fool you. So be careful. Don't just think because you met somebody, like in a church, for instance, that this person, follows the practices of God, all right, follows God's laws. You have to still watch that person's pattern and see what that person is about, you guys. So I needed to bring that up because a lot of people are fooled by that. A lot of people say, oh, he's different because, he's very into religion. We talk about the Bible and everything like that. If you're dealing with somebody who's a really good player or a seasoned player, they're going to portray that they are not like these other guys. This is part of the game, all right? This is part of the game. And just because what comes out of their mouth doesn't necessarily mean they are like that. They're trying to paint a picture of themselves in your eyes. And the whole goal of that is so that you trust them. Again, what am I talking about? I'm talking about them trying to win over your trust too fast, too soon, all right? That is your biggest fucking red flag, that you are dealing with somebody who's going to play game on you when they cannot wait it out for you to get to know them and take time and let months go by to see what they're about, what their pattern is, what their behavior is. Watch them when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're angry, when they're pissed, whatever it could be. These type of people don't believe in that. And they're going to try to, convince you that, no, this is me, okay? What you see is what you got. I'm not going to change. This is me. They're trying so hard to convince you that they are your perfect guy, or if it's the other way around, they're your perfect woman, all right? So that you let your guard down. Don't do it. Don't do it. Trust is earned, and trust doesn't come until time has passed and that mask comes off. And I'm telling you, listen to me when I tell you, the mask always comes off. They can't keep it up. I'm going to do a recording on this for real, you guys. I'm going to do a recording on this because it is so true and I've seen it so many times. All right. So in the beginning, these people are on a probationary period. Yeah, they may seem great. Yeah, they may seem nice, but it's the fucking beginning, and we will not pass judgment as to whether they're good, bad, or whatever till a few months in, all right? If you last that long with some of these people, okay? So I wanted to bring that up. Now, another sign somebody's playing game on you, I've brought this up again in prior podcasts, is when you start to meet them and now you want to go on their social media, you want to see what this person is about, and you ask them if they want to be friends on Facebook or do you have an Instagram or anything like that, and they come back at you and they say, I don't do social media, okay? Now, I'm not saying there couldn't be somebody that doesn't do social media, that doesn't have social media, but that is very rare, okay? Because the majority of the world has social media, all right? And if this person is telling you they have no social media whatsoever, 9 times out of 10, they're playing game on you. They don't want to put you on their social media because they got their old lady or old man on there, all right? And then the other thing is, if they do tell you they have, social media, for instance, Facebook or something, and they put you on the Facebook, you have to make sure that that is their main Facebook page, because some of these people that play game have numerous Facebook pages, and they have Facebook pages where they use different kinds of names, all right? You know, it doesn't even have to be their real name. They could just be like, the wondrous guy or whatever it is, okay? So you got to watch that. And when they do add you to their social media, see if they have a lot of people on there. That's how you're going to know, is that their main page or is that not really their main page? And see if the page is an active page. So you want to be aware of that, all right? Anybody who doesn't want to add you to social media or says, I don't really do that, that is a red flag. Watch out, okay? 9 times out of 10, they got somebody. They don't want to add you to the page because they don't want you to see what's on there. So, don't be a sucker. You got to look at all these things so you know what you're dealing with. Now, classic game, all right? You're talking to this new person, you're on the phone with them or whatever it is, and they tell you that they're going to bed. They say something to you like, listen, beautiful, I'm going to go to bed now because I've got to get up early, or whatever excuse they give you, okay? Or I'm taking a shower now and then I'm going to bed or whatever. So now you hang up with them, and you go back to the app that you were on with them, and you see that the light is on. But it's not just on for 5 minutes, because sometimes apps don't always close out within 5 minutes. You see that light is on for a good amount of time, a half hour, an hour, or longer. Now you know that this person is not going to bed, that they, brushed you off to go on their social media because they're most likely talking to somebody else, and they had enough of you, and now they're blowing you off and going to talk to somebody else. But the best is when you talk to them and you say, oh, I see you didn't go to bed or whatever it is. Classic game, they're going to deny it. And they're going to say something to you like, oh, my phone doesn't shut down. Sometimes the app doesn't close out or whatever it is. That is classic game. Don't believe it. That is classic game. Because if you see that light's been on a while or whatever it is, that is classic game. They're going to try to gaslight you now. And this is what causes the confusion in your brain, all right? Or another famous game player's thing is they'll tell you they're in a spot where they have no Wi-Fi or their phone's not working or something like that, and you see their light is on, okay? If that light is on, then that light is fucking on, okay? And you're going to believe your eyes, not what comes out of their mouths, all right? So believe me when I tell you, this is all game. And they're going to try to gaslight you. And then you're going to sit there and you're going to second guess yourself and say, well, maybe their phone didn't close down, or, maybe it was, maybe I'm wrong or something. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's your gut telling you something. That's your eyes seeing something. And you better believe it, because somebody's trying to play game on you. Okay? Now you know that you're not dealing with a sincere person, and you better recognize that. Why is that important? Because that's the tip of the iceberg. Because if they're lying about these kind of things, they're going to lie about other things and bigger things down the road. All right? Don't waste your time. These people are going to try to manipulate and lie to you. So watch out. This is not something that you want to, just ignore. All right? So I've touched upon a few things you guys need to be aware of when people are out there in the dating world and they're trying to play game on you. Watch out for the love bombers. That's the big one. If it seems too good to be true, it is too good to be true. In other words, nobody's that nice, all right? Nobody's that nice. So, no, you haven't met your Prince Charming. You're dealing with somebody who's playing game on you. When they're saying that they love you within the first, month, 2 months, even 3 months, they're playing game on you. Watch out, okay? Watch out. Or in other cases, You could be dealing with a very controlling person, which you got to be really careful of controlling people. They could be emotionally and physically abusive down the line, depending on who you're dealing with. So watch out for those love bombers. That's the big one when they try to play game. They tell you how wonderful you are. They try to mirror that they're the perfect person, that they're not like these other guys or whatever it is. You know, they may be consistent, but they may be seeing somebody on the side when you go to bed. All these kind of things, classic love bombing. Watch out for the breadcrumbing, the people that, touch base with you and give you the token text, good morning, or whatever it is, the touch base text, but they're not getting on the phone. They're not trying to find out who you are. Why aren't they trying to find out who you are? Because they don't fucking care who you are, because they don't plan on being with you long term. All right. And then when you have these other people that really want to get something out of you, it could be money or something like that. These type of game players, manipulators, narcissists, they will put more time into you, and they are the most dangerous type of game players going, because what they're going to do is they will ask you questions about yourself. They will get in in-depth conversations with you, but it's not going to last past 6 to 12 weeks, because then their mask is going to come off and you're going to see that they're not sincere. Because if they're narcissistic, they're going to love bomb you, and between around 6 to 12 weeks, once they feel they've got you, then they're going to start to devalue you and criticize you and put you down and not give you a compliment, because now they feel they've got you, or maybe they're getting whatever they could get out of you to use you for something, and then get ready for the discard where they just totally have indifference to you, and they've checked out of the relationship because they've gotten everything they could get out of you. All right. So these are all the things you guys have to watch out. Your only defense against these type of manipulative, lying type of people that are out there that don't have good intentions, the only thing, the tool that you have is to take your time, to move slowly, and to not give something to somebody, okay, too soon, too fast, all right? When it comes to sex, you take your time. If you're looking for more than just a hookup, you take your time, all right? This is the biggest mistake that a lot of women make. After the first, second, third date, or even the first month, they're fooled. They think they got a real one. The guy is talking about marriage. He's talking about making you his future girlfriend. You end up sleeping with them, and then all of a sudden the guy backs off. He got what he wants, and now you just got played, okay? And then what happens is, they're going to back off from you, and then they're going to come back whenever they want a little benefit from you. It could be 2 weeks later, then they start with the love bombing again to maybe get it from you again, but they're going to breadcrumb you and keep you at bay, all right? So this is why I tell you, the biggest defense against these manipulative people that are trying to use you is to take your time. And one other thing that I want to bring up, you guys, that is crucial. All right. If you want to know what somebody is really about, and you're starting to date this person and everything like that, one of the biggest ways you're going to be able to tell what that person is about is to have that boundary up and tell them no when they ask you for something, and you're telling them no, they're not getting their way. If they act angry about it or something like that, that is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? But, if they are understanding or something like that, then great. Just be careful, because some of them, may hang in there feeling like, okay, she'll break eventually. She'll break eventually. That's why I say, take your time. Take your time. So I hope that helps you guys, all right? I touched on a few. There's so much more here, but I hope that helps you. Please share the podcast on your social media to your friends. I would truly appreciate it. It could help somebody else out there. It helps to break the game. And why is it good to break the game? Because you want to deal with sincere people. Nobody deserves to get hurt. Nobody deserves to get played. it breaks people. It causes people to go into depressions and everything else. It causes other people to be broken, and hurt people hurt other people. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to watch out for you, okay? So please share the podcast to your friends, and have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. If you have a dating or relationship question, or you need an opinion on something, go to the link in the bio and ask a question and get a personalized video sent back to you. It's in the Linktree/TheGameExposed, and you could ask a question and get a personalized video confidentially sent to you, answering your question. Hi, you guys, it's Yaz, and I want to tell you about my 2 books on Amazon. The first book is Regain Your Power. It's all about power and relationship. Who has the power in the relationship? And it goes into all of that, okay? The other book is Signs He's Not Into You, He's Wasting Your Time, okay? Check it out. It gives you a lot of good clues as to whether you're with somebody who's a real one or somebody who's just going to waste your time. You could read them both with Kindle's free trial membership. So check it out. Link is in the podcast description. Hi, you guys. I just want to make you aware that the Game Exposed podcast now has their merchandise available. You can check out the link in the podcast description. There's hoodies, there's sweatpants, there's t-shirts, there's cool hats. So go check it out. Link is in the podcast description. And follow Yaz on Instagram at dating_advice_Yaz.